Warning, this podcast is not for the faint of heart.
We keep it real and raw.
And talk about issues that other podcasts wouldn't dare. This is the Truth of the Matter podcast with Dr. Spencer. Step into our world. What do you do if you fall in love with one of your kids' friends who's over 18? How do you handle getting caught in bed with your boss? Why do girls like bad boys? Are you burned out from an unbalanced career and personal life? Are you still working while your kids are telling you how their days went? Our passion is to help people in relationships, anyone you have a connection with in life, neighbors, coworkers, family, spouse, kids, yourself, and helping you achieve the work-life balance. Let's have some fun and let's get educated. This is the Truth of the Matter podcast. And now your host, Dr. Lamarr Renee Spencer.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Lamarr Renee Spencer, your favorite life alignment strategist and certified life, relationship, and business coach. And you know what I always say, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because it's somewhere, I know you're somewhere where it's different time zones. So let's get into it. And let me just tell you from the door, because I already know this is going to stay a little. I already know. I know I'm going to get some questions, and some people may be upset about it. But hey, we have to talk, okay? So today, I want to talk about mothers who make their sons the man of the house, okay? Your son is not the man of your house, so please stop telling them that. And we know that nowadays, especially in the 21st century, there is a lot of single parent-headed households with a son and daughter at home. I mean, both are there. Daughter, there's a lot to be done in the house. But I never tried to be the man in the house because I'm simply not the man. And mothers, neither are you. But the workload definitely has doubled when you're the only player in the family game. Now, daughters, as we know, in so many instances, they model their mother's behavior. And sons, of course, model that of their father. But when their father's only part-time or non-existent, they often model what they see on television, outside of the home, including social media. Television will have us believing, and social media will have us believing, that we are a traditional, we should accept a traditional nuclear family with a dad as the head and making all the decisions because they're supposed to know what's in the best interest of the family and be the primary provider. But mothers are often portrayed as being more liberated on today's television. Have you seen that? And still, we are the co-pilot of the father in married or domestic partnership type relationships. And for a son in single parent homes, I'm going to tell you, it's a slippery slope. Especially trying to teach your son the things he needs to know to be a productive male adult. And as he ages, many times you aren't sure of how to set him up to be that way because we have to keep it real. We can't teach boys how to be men. We do know that boys in many cases are physically stronger than our girls. So we rely on them to pick up or move heavy things. But if there is something like a mouse that gets in the house from the outside or something gross that we have to deal with, maybe not at all, we sometimes become squeamish. So we rely on them to take care of it. I'm going to tell you, society still pushes us to believe that our boys shouldn't be emotional as girls. It's really called toxic masculinity because they need to be rough and not really want to be touched. But some parents don't even realize that they're unintentionally teaching their sons to be emotionally non-existent when they really need to be kids and learn what it means to manage their emotions in a healthy way. So when striving for this, and to teach your kids this, we sometimes miss the mark. And I can't tell you how many times my relationship coaching clients have had women tell me they're part of the needs on a list. Or they'll say, I need to show him, or he needs to show me emotions, but be tough too. What does that mean in layman's terms? Because I'm a little lost, I'm perplexed. So I need him to have emotions, but it needs to have a light switch almost, like it's off and on. You turn it on or off, and it's without warning. Boy, what a recipe for disaster that is. And like I said, I know this is going to burn for some. You can't tell me it's not. But because most boys and moms have a relationship bond like no other, it's only natural for women to want to be loved and for our sons to kind of step in and be that surrogate man. But it's not like they really want to. And they don't want to see us females or moms to struggle. So what they try to do is they take some of the burden off. But the concern is when you try to make them not show emotions or not help to cultivate their emotional side enough to deal with it or deal with situations. So in this case, there are many risks. I'm keeping it real. We should become self-aware of our own emotions before we can even think about dealing with others or telling our sons that they are the man of the house. And for kids, they look to parents as their foundation, the being to kind of sustain them and everything in the house. So they definitely don't want anything that's going to threaten them or cause a problem. And in that, they try to take on the roles that really belong to adults. And sometimes parents are so tired and stressed and worn out, we just let them do it. Because I always tell my clients, especially my females, I said, you know what? Sometimes women, we feel like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders. So today, I'm going to give you some tips on how to help your son to enjoy his childhood and not try to think that he has to be the man of the house before he's even shown what it's like to be the man of the house or before he even gets his own house. He still has to learn responsibility. But that's not to say that he has to learn so quickly and be really grown, because he's not. He's a kid. So for each period of your work that your child's responsible for, give them kid time so they can enjoy their childhood. That means, like, we kind of need to go back to the old school, because when your kids came home, they did their homework, they put on their play clothes or had dinner, and then they went out and played, right? We had structure, but we did not have them to be the man of the house because they're not. So we got to kind of go back to that, because we want our boys to enjoy their childhood just like we want our daughters to enjoy their childhood. So you need to, or I should say, I'm going to sort of suggest it, reprioritize things in your life to allow them to have time to have fun, but also for you to have fun with them. Sometimes it's not so bad to kind of be like a child, especially when you're, playing with them. It's not a bad thing. And plus, it gives you time to kind of recenter and not be so focused on careers. Because we know nowadays people are having a tough time balancing career and also family. So this gives you time not just to spend with your son, but also to kind of relax and recenter too. But I'm going to throw in a caveat in there. When you're playing with them or you're having fun with them, make sure you turn off your laptops, your cell phones, any type of email communication, because it's about you and them. And then try to be aware what it takes to make a kid happy and what some of the things they like to do to be fun. But don't make your child bear the burdens of your adult stress. And I know sometimes it's hard because we don't know where to always channel our stress as adults. Oftentimes, we never learn that. We just kind of go on with our day-to-day and hope and pray that we get through the day. We don't know that we are actually stressing ourselves out and our kids as well. So remember, adult problems can be discussed, but at a minimum, and make sure it's at their age, okay, in ways that they understand. And also you have to reassure them that you're there to help and support them. Because really, ultimately, they're supporting you too. A lot of times we don't realize how much we need our children because we do, right? And we don't realize it, but they actually support us and help us get through the day. But we want to keep them kids and enjoy their childhood. And I'll have to say, you got to encourage the connection between your son and positive role models. So they know how to be effective. They know what it's going to take to be a man. Okay, because I always say, and I know it's not always a good thing, that men tend to not be so emotional as women. So don't be afraid even to take classes, go to coaching sessions, and to learn new things that are traditionally for men, or even to manage your own household. It's nothing wrong with that. We don't always get it right. Sometimes we do what we were taught or what we know, what we saw. But there's never a bad time to make a correction. Sometimes we hear generational traumas. Well, someone posted the other day and I thought it was so eloquent. She said, is it a generational trauma or is it generational choice? So here we have the choice to do something different and to make things better. And there's always some type of men in your community, your church, your immediate circle. And reach out to them. Ask them, hey, can you mentor my son? Or can you be like the older uncle, pop or something? Because a lot of times men want that. But nowadays, what I find is we get away from that old school mentality where it takes a village. And sometimes you scare men away because then they feel like they're overstepping a boundary and going to get told off and embarrassed. But it shouldn't be that way. Get those boys around men who can school them. And let me just say, like I said, it could be your community center, your church, or your media circle. But don't be so oblivious to even reaching out to your neighbor. Like I said, different organizations. There's plenty of them out there. You have Big Brother, Big Sister. You have mentoring programs. There may even be a coworker that you work with that's really good, maybe have sons that may actually, help you out. And I know sometimes we don't always like to bring our work home and we don't always want to ask our colleagues. I understand that. but I'm saying the ones that you already have a relationship with that's not going to judge you. Sometimes even at work, we build relationships up. So I think that's important. Just find a male and get them in their life. Even now, since we're on social media, I'm sure there's probably a someone in your social media circle that you can confide in, that you trust with your son. So reach out, definitely. And last, I know teaching responsibility is a great thing, and it's a big thing. But we have to be careful not to rush our son to grow up so quickly. We have to. It's imperative. Let them be children, because they're only going to be children one time. And I know some of you may say, oh, they're going to be any age at one time. I understand that. But let them be children. Let them enjoy their childhood, because when you start treating them as adults and taking on the responsibility, and if they say something foul to you or what you deem to be disrespectful, then you're going to come back and be like, oh yeah, you're acting grown. Well, guess what, Mom? You put them in that position to be the man of the house. So sometimes we bite off more than we can chew. So I'm just saying, we don't always get it right, but let's refocus and let's put them where they need to be. Because one thing you don't want to happen, and I have clients in this situation where they're 40 and 50 years old and they're reliving their childhood because they missed out on their childhood, or they felt like they had to not just take care of the house per se, but then they also had to be the surrogate parent maybe for their younger siblings. And sometimes that actually draws a wedge where they will, start to get resentment as they get older. So again, these are just brief tips that I kind of wanted to put out there. But whenever in doubt, please feel free to reach out to me, 973-214-6464, or email me at drlamarrspencer@gmail.com, or go to my website at drlamarrspencer.com. I'm on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Reach out, because again, this is only a short list, but I'm sure some of you are going through that are listening to this, and maybe you just don't know how to shut it off, or you just need help in sort of recentering and redirecting. And it's okay. We don't always get it right as parents. I tell my daughter a lot of times, I'm sorry, we don't always get it right. And I know sometimes as our parents, they never admitted when they were wrong. They would be like, okay, let's go get something to eat, or let's do something. But meanwhile, they were wrong. And it's not to discount what they have done. Sometimes they just didn't know any better. But it's up to us now to recognize it and to kind of make some changes. But the foundation never changes, and that is having integrity, moral, and respect. That does not change. But again, like I said, stop making him the man of the house and let your boys enjoy their childhood. But thank you so very much for listening to me again and coming on. I really appreciate you all, and take care until the next time.
You've been listening to The Truth of the Matter with Dr. Spencer. Yes, we talk about taboo topics, but that's life, and we keep it real and raw. Our passion is to educate and enlighten. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review the show, and we'll be back soon. But if you have a unique relationship situation and you'd like help, or you're tired of having to choose between your career and personal life, Dr. Lamarr Renee Spencer is a life alignment strategist and a certified life, relationship, and business coach. So make sure to reach out. On Instagram and TikTok at Dr. Lamarr Spencer. On Twitter at Dr. Spencer15. On Facebook at Dr. Lamarr Renee Spencer. And the website drlamarrspencer.com. Or go old school and call 973-214-6464.
Don't forget to purchase the book, The Depth and Diversity with Relationships. Find it on Amazon and the website.
See you next time on The Truth of the Matter.